you can just plug it in with the system on, system will detect it, and the appropriate drivers will be loaded. That's not the case with a non-plug-and-play printer. You actually need to connect the printer to the system before the system power on the printer, and then power the computer on. Otherwise, the system may not detect that it's there. Once that's done, then you have to manually load the drivers to support the non-plug-and-play printer. To do this, let's go down here and right-click on the Windows icon, load Control Panel, go back into View Devices and Printers, and we need to click on Add a Printer. Now, by default, it's going to try to find a plug-and-play compatible printer or a network printer that it can see. Now, for the printer I have connected to this system, that's not going to work because it's connected using a parallel port. Eventually, this process will time out and you'll be prompted to manually specify where the printer is located. I don't want to wait that long, so I'm going to click on this link down here that says the printer that I want isn't listed because I happen to know that it's not going to be listed. Now, you have several different options for finding the non-plug-and-play printer. One is to let Windows try to find it, and with a lot of non-plug-and-play printers, it never will. You'll have to do it manually. If it's a shared printer over the network, you can use this option right here to specify the name of the computer that the printer is connected to, along with the printer name that you want to connect to. If the printer is not connected to another computer, but instead has a print server device connected to it that allows it to connect directly to the network, you can connect to that printer using its IP address using this option. Or if the printer uses a wireless interface, either 802.11 or Bluetooth, you can use this option to try to discover it. Or you can use this option right down here, which is the one we're going to use today, which allows us to just manually specify where the printer is located and what driver should be used. Let's go ahead and do that. It's connected to my first parallel port in the system. It's actually the only parallel port in the system, which is LPT1. Click Next. Then I have to specify which driver I want to use for that printer. Now, only a minimal list of drivers are actually listed here. You have actually 3 different options for selecting a driver in this interface. One is to select one of these drivers that did come preloaded with Windows when it was installed. Or I could use the Windows Update option here to go out and download the necessary drivers from Windows Update. This is very useful because Microsoft actually maintains a very large database of drivers. And if you have an older printer, this is probably where you're going to find the necessary drivers for it. However, be aware that this option does take a little while. The third option is to manually load the correct driver. I could go to the manufacturer's website, download the driver for the printer, and then click on this option to manually select the printer driver. Now, fortunately, the printer that I'm using is this one right here. It's an HP LaserJet 4200. I don't have to grab it from Windows Update, nor do I have to manually load the driver because it's already installed on Windows. Next. Next, we have to give it a name. As with our plug-and-play printers, by default, the name of the driver is used for the name of the printer. We don't have to use it if we don't want to. Let's call it Laser Printer 1. Click Next. And now the printer has been successfully added, and we can send a test page to make sure that it's working properly. I'm going to go ahead and click Close and click Finish. And when I'm done, I see that my new laser printer has been added to the list of available printers. And now I can decide if I want it to be the default printer or if I want my inkjet to be the default printer. That's it for this demonstration. In this demo, we talked about how to install a local printer. We first looked at the process for installing and managing plug-and-play compatible printer, and then we looked at the process for installing a non-plug-and-play printer.